Israel's prime minister told the UN General Assembly Friday that Israel is winning in its fight against terrorists and their patrons in Iran who perpetrated the October 7th terror attacks on his country. "I have a message for the tyrants of Tehran," Benjamin Netanyahu said. "If you strike us, we will strike you. There is no place in Iran that the long arm of Israel cannot reach, and that's true of the entire Middle East." He said Israel's soldiers have fought with incredible courage and with heroic sacrifice for the past 11 months. "And I have another message for this assembly and for the world outside this hall. We are winning," said Netanyahu. The Israeli prime minister took the stage to a mix of boos and cheers from the gallery, where some visitors are permitted. A stream of diplomats rose from their seats and left the hall as he strode onto the stage. But Netanyahu was not fazed. He said Hamas must go, and he would not accept their participation in any post-war Gaza governing structure. Just imagine, for those who say, well, Hamas has to stay, it has to be part of a post-war Gaza. Imagine in a post-war situation in World War II. Imagine allowing the defeated Nazis in 1945 to rebuild Germany, he told the UN General Assembly. "It's inconceivable. It's ridiculous. It didn't happen then. It's not going to happen now." Turning to Lebanon, where there has been a dangerous and deadly escalation between Israel and Iranian-backed Hezbollah fighters in the past week, Netanyahu said Israel must also defeat them so thousands of Israeli citizens can return to their homes in northern Israel. "I've come here today to say enough is enough," he said. "We won't rest until our citizens can return safely to their homes. We will not accept a terror army perched on our northern border able to perpetrate another October 7-style massacre." Shortly after Netanyahu spoke, the Israel Defense Forces hit what they said is Hezbollah's headquarters in Beirut's southern suburbs. The Israeli leader characterized the situation in the region as a battle between the forces of good and evil, Israel battling the evil forces of terrorism in the Middle East. "Yes, we're defending ourselves, but we're also defending you against the common enemy that, through violence and terror, seeks to destroy our way of life," he said. The prime minister condemned countries that have accused Israel of genocide in Gaza, and he sought to get ahead of possible arrest warrants from the International Criminal Court at The Hague. They have been sought by the chief prosecutor for Netanyahu and his defense minister Yoav Gallant over their prosecution of the war and civilian suffering, saying it all comes down to anti-Semitism. "The real war criminals are not in Israel, they're in Iran. They're in Gaza, in Syria, in Lebanon, in Yemen," said Netanyahu. Despite his hard line, the Israeli prime minister said his government wants peace. He pointed to the success of the Abraham Accords, brokered by former U.S. President Donald Trump, that led to peace pacts with the UAE, Morocco, Bahrain, and Sudan. While landmark agreements, they are all nations Israel has never fought a war with. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas addressed the assembly the day before Netanyahu and called for an end to his people's suffering. "Stop this crime. Stop it now. Stop killing children and women. Stop the genocide. Stop sending weapons to Israel," said Abbas. "This madness cannot continue. The entire world is responsible for what is happening to our people in Gaza and the West Bank." Shortly before Netanyahu spoke Friday, Slovenian Prime Minister Robert Golob told the assembly that he had met two Palestinian girls, Sarah and Rand, who told him they just wanted a normal life and asked for his help. He said he was fulfilling his promise to bring their message to New York. "I want to say this out loud and clear to the Israeli government. Stop the bloodshed. Stop the suffering. Bring the hostages home and end the occupation," Golob said to loud applause. "Mr. Netanyahu, stop this war now," he said, slamming his hand on the podium. Pakistan's prime minister spoke just before Netanyahu. He said the war in Gaza is the systematic slaughter of innocent people. "We must act now and demand an immediate end to this bloodshed," Mohammad Sharif said to applause.